What's up? Welcome in to the CHGO Bears Podcast. My name is Adam Hoge, joined by Carman and Nicholas Moreano today on a hot Wednesday at House Hall, where we just got back from whatever Bears rookie walkthrough camp situation that was. I think Matt Eberflus's opening statement, his press conference, was longer than the practice.
Yeah,
I missed it. I was with Chris Morgan, the Bears O-line coach. I feel a sense of loss today that I didn't get enough of the Flus. By the way, great to see you. I loved today. I thought the best walkthrough of all of today was Adam Hoge walking up to practice, which I know we're going to cover at some point on this show.
Oh, yeah. We broke it down just like everything we do here on CHGO Bears.
Yeah, we have that all ready to go for you. Before we get in the best and worst, just to set everything up, first of all, make sure you hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're here for the first time. Got a lot to get to from our day at House Hall. This was something I have not experienced before in all the years I've covered the team. Not that that's a bad thing. I understand why they had this week of practice for the rookies. Everything's sort of disjointed because of the Hall of Fame game that the Bears are playing in. So training camp starts a week earlier. Bears mini camp was a week earlier. Everything was a week earlier. And this was technically the last week of OTAs that they had available to them to legally, under NFL rules, use. So they set the vets free after minicamp last week, and they took advantage of these 3 final days of practice to have the rookies all in the building. Of course, I didn't do a final count of bodies out there. I don't know if you guys did. Do you got it, Nick?
I have circled 13 players out there. Okay.
So if you guys, even Carm here, know how, football works and numbers, that's not enough people to practice, to even run, a full play. Well, I guess you could have them all on one side of the ball and run it against air and have enough, but there's enough offensive and defensive guys out there that this was, unless it might look like a Vernon Hills flag football practice, but it's certainly not going to be an NFL practice. I still like what they were doing, though. They had 3 days to use. They got them in the building. They went through meetings, fine-tuning fundamentals. The practice we saw today was basically broken up into individual groups and like a glorified longer individual period. And offensively, they will run through some concepts on air. Certainly doesn't hurt. Do I think they would have gone through this whole song and dance this week if Caleb Williams wasn't on the team? Probably not. I think they all would have been off and they would have been enjoying their summer. But because they have Caleb and this is that important, I love that they're doing it. They are being meticulous in everything they do. And I think that included these 3 days. So I just wanted to kind of set that up so everyone understands what was going on this week and why it was so different and why our observations are going to be a little bit different too, because there was only 13 players out there on the practice field.
Yeah, I have no idea what was going on today. I look forward to making up something for what is my best and something that is my worst in the next 5 minutes in my head. Nick, you're going to go first. I don't know I have a hard time understanding what the purpose of today was, but they were out there. I've got video of one of the last throws that Caleb Williams is going to make before training camp opens. So I feel very privileged to have been there for that. The cicadas were causing havoc over there at House Hall. That was a thing. But overall, you do feel a very positive vibe coming out of House Hall right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Nick, I'll tee you up here so you can go ahead and then talk about your best and worst as we start that. Even though it was a full practice, we'll still break it down. Your best and worst of whatever today was at House Hall.
Yeah, because I took the notes, I'm going to give my best to the 13 players that are actually there and highlight them by actually, mentioning them. Actually, sorry, it's 14. I didn't circle Caleb Williams because obviously he's obviously there. So we have Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, Torrey Taylor, John Jackson, Ian Wheeler, Leon Jones, Cameron Lyons, Reddy Stewart, Carl Jones Jr., Jamari Kamroth, Theo
Huge.
Bennett, Keith Randolph Jr. Karan Amagaji was there, but he was on a bike off to the side. Peter LeBlanc, Brendan Bates, and then Austin Booker was also on the bike. So 14 guys actually practicing. That's my best. The worst, you mentioned it, Mark, the cicadas. Look, I'm a bug guy. Like, I love tarantulas. I love spiders. I mess with snakes, all that stuff. Cicadas are a no for me. And Adam, much respect to you. You can just have them go on your arm and, you know, you're fine with it. Me, those freaking red eyes, when they look at me, I just want to smack the shit out of them. Mark told me a terrible story about how a cicada almost killed him, you know, earlier in the week. So worse is the cicadas, but I'll leave it at that.
It's true. I did nearly, well, I don't know about dying, but I nearly got in a car accident because of a cicada. That would have been bad. Ho, you want me to go or are you going to go?
What, did it just jump on you and then you freaked out?
I parked under a tree. There was 8,000 cicadas. It was a dumb parking job by me. I got in a ride. I got dropped off back at the car. I weaved my way back into the car. I thought I had dodged the cicadas. I'm pulling out of the parking lot. And right before I pull out of Myers Tavern on Lake Avenue, the thing flutters off my knee, makes its hissing sound at me. I freak out, scream. And as I'm doing that, I open up the door, I flick the thing out the window, but as I'm doing out the door, as I'm doing all that, I took my foot off the brake, so my car rolls into Lake Avenue. And if there had been a car right there, it would have been bad. That thing nearly caused a car accident. So congratulations to the cicada. I hope he's and then there was another one that was on my windshield that made it all the way from there to like my tennis match. It was like 20 minutes away. Made it the whole way on the windshield on the windshield wiper. Excellent job.
I just don't understand what the big deal is. They're just big bugs that don't do anything. Carm had his whole fake solar eclipse thing up until basically yesterday. I thought this whole cicada thing was fake. I don't have them where I live. I hear them every year where I live, but not, usually not till July. I'm sure we're still going to get those ones too. Those ones are annoying. I get it. But this whole like influx of 17-year cicadas, I'm like, we get them every year. But I will say I was in the vicinity of Myers Tavern yesterday and was driving sort of around Loyola Academy. Is loud as hell. That's crazy. That's crazy how loud they were. And you could hear them a little bit today. I'm trying to picture Carm's scream though. Let's see. I know we have this video. You guys were filming me walking up to practice. And then this happened.
There's never been a better walk in media history than the Hoge walk. Arm shake.
Good arm shake, yeah.
Good, right?
Good rhythm. Good rhythm.
Right. You just see a confidence.
Video cuts off and there's a scream at the end.
I got scared. I was filming and then I'm like, whoa, what happened?
Is that you literally clicked right off?
Yeah, it startled me. I'm like, what the hell is going on over here? It's Bears practice, and then you hear a scream. But who was it? Like in the chat, you better put in, who do you think that was?
The question is, who on the Bears beat screamed like that? We've already gotten permission from that person to air that video. I think we should play it one more time. If we can re-cue it, I think we're going to hear it one more time. Now that people know what's coming.
It was a piercing scream in the moment. I don't know if it quite is translating to this video because it was as I guess Nick turned off his video because it was so startling.
There's never been a better walk in media history than the Hoge walk. Arm shake.
Good arm shake, yeah.
Good, right?
Good rhythm. Good rhythm.
Right. You just see a confidence.
Possibly was screaming. Is it true that that person was screaming because they saw Hoge?
No.
Well, there might be that. I just think the whole thing's karma for you guys filming me walking up to practice. That the whole video was like I sent that cicada after you. Braggs in the stands thinks it was Carm. I think it could have been Carm. I've heard him scream.
It was me. Yeah. It was not Mark or myself.
Do people agree though that the Hoge walk is an elite walk? That walk is unbelievable. There has never been a better walk in all of media. That thing is like it is perfection. I
Next
love
Die
that
Hard
walk.
article is going to be me breaking down Adam's walk. So exclusive content coming your guys' way.
I like it.
Let's
mean,
go.
I've done zero work on this walk. I don't know. I didn't know it was a thing, so I'll just take it. It's kind, Flus was talking about Mercedes Lewis's God-given ability to play 19 years. My walk's God-given. There's been no time or energy put into it whatsoever.
I am a Hoge walk for life guy. That walk is.
A couple of people have gotten it correct, by the way. It was Courtney Cronin who screamed, and then really seemed to have no appreciation or, quite frankly, she was disgusted that I let the cicada just walk on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, Courtney's about as tough as they get in my mind, so I was stunned that she screamed. Like, I would have thought that she'd be like, whatever, cicada. But the only thing that could get Courtney out of her zone is a cicada, is my takeaway. Yeah. She's so focused and so good at her gig, but a cicada, that's an obstacle that Cronin was not ready for.
I do have someone, Gil said Potsy screaming like that. That's funny. That'd be fantastic. Hey, I do have to say, as cool as I was just letting the cicada on my hand, like there were those things dive bomb you, and then all of a sudden they're on your neck, and you it's just a natural action to like just grab it and chuck it.
Well, Adam, one landed. Okay, I didn't tell you about this, but one landed right on the back of your hat, and Courtney and I were there. I'm like, should I do with it? He's like, no, he's fine. He loves the cicadas. So and then he just flew off harmlessly. So
I'm in harmony with the cicadas. I'm
hashtag cicada harmony. Hoge. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm loud, annoying, and only make an impact every 17 years.
That is somehow that applies, I think, a little bit more to me. I got age.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, best and worst is now completely off the rails. Carb.
Sure.
Your best and worst of the day?
Okay. Well, best is I'm giving it to Rome again. It was cool. Poles walked out onto the field, and Rome was doing his footwork, whatever, running these little patterns, and Poles is watching him, and Rome's just looking smooth, and I'm just super excited about what the Bears have in Rome Odunze, and then his press conference, just to throw that into the best. He's just insanely likable and fun, and it's just a huge, I think he's going to be, hopefully will be a huge benefit for the Bears both on and off the field. Super excited about Rome. My worst, got to think about this. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a worst, but it was where I was. Thank you, Grunt, for Stallone. Backwards cap and glasses, great look for me. Thank you. My worst. I was talking with Chris Morgan. They split up the coaches, so I was in that group. I asked him about Ryan Bates and how he's looking at center, and he's good. And then the conversation kept going, and he said they're going to have a competition at center with Coleman Shelton. And like straight competition. Now, he's probably just giving the media nothing. It sort of seemed that way, but I'm not wild about, the Bears going into training camp / Caleb's first season / Shane's first season and trying to figure out who their center is going to be. That's not, I would not call that ideal in any way, shape, or form. So maybe he's being honest that there is going to be a competition. Maybe he's not, but taking him at his word, I'm not a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I think I'm on record already on that conversation as saying the early vibes with the whole interior O-line, besides Tevin Jenkins, so specifically center and right guard, just not where I wanted them in June. So we'll check back in training camp on that one.
He said along those lines, they asked him about Nate Davis, and Simo was like, he's been great in the classroom. Come on, man. Come on.
We'll see. Let's see what it looks like in August when the pads are out, and we'll get a better idea of this whole offensive line situation. But it could be better right now. Quickly for me, my best. Just loved all the activity at House Hall today. You got trucks rolling in. They're resodding Field 1, which I'll talk about in a little bit later on in the show when we get to snidbits. Interesting little snidbit there for the people besides me and Maddie Reflus who care about grass. We're basically the only two, and I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with it. You also had, I don't know if you guys noticed, I was starting to set up for training camp. The stands were starting to be put together, the bleachers. So just a little bit of, I just like the energy that was going on, that we're getting closer and closer to training camp, which is great. By far the worst thing, and this might be the worst thing that's happened since we started the offseason program, been around House Hall again. But last week when Caleb Williams talked, and it was good having back-to-back weeks of Caleb, kind of a preview to the regular season when the quarterback's going to have to talk weekly. We discussed how it's kind of the Wild West in these press conferences. It's hard to get a seat. Seats are being saved an hour before practice starts. It's hard to get questions in. There's so many people there. You know, the Sun-Times reserved 4 seats in the front row of that press conference, and only 3 of them were used. Just questionable tactics. I got to call them out. You know, you had a Mark Potash media guide, our guy Potsy, in the center middle seat in the front row, and Potsy was sitting in the seat next to it. Questionable.
Maybe they were reserving it for Brad Biggs, who didn't show. Any chance?
He works for a different newspaper, but
I understand that. But they might be friendly, and this could be a gesture, so they can be sharing. We all do on some level do this together, and maybe Biggs bailed. You're not buying that? Okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
Now that you said it like that, it is. I mean, imagine if CHGO just came in there and went Nick, Carm, Hoge across the middle and said, sorry about that, Pat / Jason / Potsy.
We'd never hear the end of it.
No.
No way.
Never.
No. But imagine if we did that and one of us didn't even sit down in the seat.
Yeah. That Ted Cruz would be having a meeting with Jake Flanagan, Kevin Kadick, and Abner Hoge in like 6 in 3 minutes.
I don't think go that far. For the record, we're just having fun with this. This is regular media banter, not real media beef. These are the kinds of things that in the middle of the summer you have fun with in the meeting room. I do, however, have beef with that damn Snickers freezer being empty now, I think 3 straight weeks in a row. That's messed up. One. It needs to be corrected. It has me doubting the future of this franchise. All the great changes that they've made this year, that was in the top 5, and it's been empty for the last 3 weeks. Just like my belly.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
Never had one.
Yeah. We're working very hard. This job is very difficult. We need a Snickers ice cream bar after watching practice for an hour standing there. It is a tough gig, and I, for one, am spent. And if I don't get a Snickers ice cream bar, the next time I'm at House Hall, I'm calling up George McCaskey, and I'm telling him personally, this ain't okay.
It's like those Snickers commercials, though. You turn into a different person.
Yeah.
You need the Snicker bar to get back on track. You know what we also need is a brand new sponsor to the show. I'm very excited to welcome, and everybody should be benefiting from this, because after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by overpriced wireless providers, I think we've all been there, right? We were actually having this conversation the other day in one of our meetings, how ridiculous it's gotten. Well, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. Right? There's always a catch. Just like when Nick complimented Carm today on his outstanding tweeting during the press conference, Carm thought there was a catch coming. He was prepared for it. He didn't know what the catch was going to be, but there wasn't a catch. It was just Nick firing off a nice compliment. That's exactly what it's like with Mint Mobile, okay? Because when I heard for a limited time that all Mint Mobile wireless plans are $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, I was thinking, what's the catch? I was like, Carm. But after talking to them, it all made sense. There just isn't a catch. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they sell wireless service online. They don't have retail stores or salespeople. Instead, they deliver premium phone plans directly to you. That's why they're able to sell it at that price. So say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with a premium wireless plan starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan. Bring your phone number with you along with all of your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's limited time deal. Get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/CHGO. That's mintmobile.com/CHGO. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/CHGO. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
There also isn't a catch, you guys, when it comes to Shady Rays. You can get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all your outdoor adventures. And look, they have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. They probably have a style in your favorite team's colors. If you're watching the podcast right now, I mean, look how good Mark Carman looks in those Shady Rays. If I was wearing them, probably look a little bit better. But Shady Rays, if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. And exclusive for our listeners, Shady Rays is going to give you the best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
All right, so we got a lot of good Rome Odunze conversation coming up here. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the quarterback and the offseason plan. So the Bears are the vets were already gone. The rookies now get to leave. People had flights out of town this week, and we learned from Caleb a little bit about what he intends on doing. And then we heard from Matt Eberflus right after. And I agree with what Carm said earlier. Flus had continuing the streak of really good, interesting press conferences in answering questions with direct answers and giving the fans a bunch of information. So, Caleb is planning on taking some time off and obviously resting and all that. But he said that he cannot really take his mind off football. So his plan is to spend, a day, about an hour, hour and a half, whatever it is, at least in the morning on, learning more about the offense, working on play calls, things like that. And then, kind of spending the rest of his day doing whatever he needs to do. I'm sure it'll be workouts and at some point they'll get together and throw all the things you normally hear. But even on days where he's going to rest and take some time off to recharge, there's going to be some football in there. So I asked Matt Eberflus during his press conference, the things that Caleb's going to be working on, like, are you guys giving him that stuff? Are there specific things that you are asking him to do, like almost like a schedule, or, take home homework, whatever it is? Or are you just kind of trusting him to do what he needs to do? And Matt Eberflus said, that he thinks every coach gives them what they need to do. He says, I think you give him the keys to the car, but you also show him how to drive. That's what a good coach does. So I think this just kind of continues from the very start of us knowing that they actually installed some things from their system at the pro day for him to do. And they spent, multiple days back then in March as sort of a starting basis to everything they built up to this point. I also think it's fair to point out, I think they think he needs to continue, he's not all there with getting these play calls in and spitting everything out, and nor should he be. That's a good thing to work on. So whether that's just sitting at home taking notes or working with his teammates, Rome Odunze brought up how he will have his mom and dad, spit out play calls, and then he'll literally go run to where he needs to line up and run the route and stuff like that. These are the types of things that Caleb and Rome specifically are going to be working on during the next, really, it's 4.5 weeks before the rookies have to be back at House Hall.
I think what you're hitting on, Hoge, at least the way I heard it when Caleb talked about what he's going to do in the offseason, is one of the reasons why Caleb is hopefully going to be the Caleb Williams that finally ends the Bears purgatory that has been quarterback. He is scheduling his offseason where, okay, he maps the whole thing out for one. Who does these things? Elite athletes, that's who do, elite competitors. And on this day, I'm going to, do the mental work from this point to that point. And then I can go and enjoy the rest of the day. On tomorrow's day, I'm going to do the physical. And then from there, I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of the day. So he's not just, completely taking himself out of football because he's a rookie who is got a ton of ground to cover here before training camp starts. And he's got to be, it's got to be consuming him 24/7. But he also is setting up some barriers for himself in a plan. And just listening to him talk, every time I hear the guy speak, it continues to cement to me why this guy has gotten himself in this position as the number 1 overall pick with a chance to, be that guy for a franchise that has really never had that guy, unless you want to go back to the 40s and Sid Luckman.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, too, that Caleb also talked about, like, he has this notebook, and one of the things he wanted to just even work on was rewriting all the notes, just kind of clean it up a little bit. So, like, the little details, right, that it goes into being great. Like, Caleb he comes across as that kind of guy that's going to focus on those little things to make him greater in the end. And I think, Mark, it was you who asked the question to Shane Waldron, like throwing the kitchen sink. Like, have you done that? And, Shane said, we're really trying to build some volume in this offense to see what all the players can handle. So they're giving them a lot of information. They're trying to test them to see what they do know, what they can retain, and obviously what they can. And then they can work on it from this time until they return to Hallis Hall. So I think that speaks to, just who Caleb Williams is. Like, again, rewriting some of those notes, taking all the information. Then when you come back to training camp, hopefully you have a better foundation than obviously when you first started and got this playbook in the first place.
To the guy who works on this show, by the way, I did not laugh at the kitchen sink joke. Thank you, Gregory. Sorry, Hoge. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was that one seemed to kind of fall on deaf ears for a second. I picked up. Shane Waldron said he didn't literally throw a kitchen sink at him.
It wasn't funny.
That was a good line.
You thought it was a decent line?
Yeah, that was a decent line.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciated his answer. And I really liked his answer on the one I asked him about, allowing Caleb to make mistakes. But go ahead. I'm my bad.
Have you ever not liked an answer to a question that you asked?
I didn't like a lot of the answers I got from Chris Morgan today, and I enjoyed Chris Morgan too. He's guarded, man, and I get it. That's why tell this rando weirdo Carm guy some deep offensive lineman juice that I don't need to. I get it.
Yeah. We did get our first sort of discussion on preseason reps.
Oh, I was not there for that.
With Matt Eberflus. Yeah. I know things were a little disjointed because people in different rooms today, but that's okay. That's how this should work. So Matt Eberflus was asked about preseason game reps, and he doesn't have anything planned yet, although I'm sure they sort of do. But he said they're talking about that stuff right now, and he brought up how you look at last year's reps. CJ, Bryce, Richardson, they all got between 45 and 65 reps in the preseason. And then he went on to say, we're going to do what's best for the Bears. But just the fact that he knew that off the top of his head, obviously they've looked into this stuff. They're already having some deep discussions about, what other rookies have done in the past. Remember, they got a coach on their team in Thomas Brown, who was there in Carolina last year with Bryce Young and, can have some input on what they did with Bryce Young and maybe what was good, what was bad, all those types of things. So I think that is one of the benefit of the amount of coaches they have involved in this thing. I do have some concerns about that, which we can talk about in a little bit as well. But it was interesting to kind of just start to get an idea of what they want to do. And I don't think Flus would have brought up those numbers specifically if they weren't kind of targeting something similar.
I think that's super interesting that he was that transparent about it. That is
true.
I mean, it's not, you're not giving away state secrets here, but he could have said a million things there. Well, he's gonna play. We're gonna get him out there. Whatever generic thing. That's a little bit more. I'm a little bit surprised, and I like that plan. 45 to 65. I lean towards more the 65, but that seems like a decent number to me. I don't know. You guys agree?
Look, it's a new offense. There's a lot being thrown at Caleb. I think getting these reps in the preseason, I think it would be beneficial. Just you're going to be around a lot of these guys. You don't even know who your center is at this point. So I am for having more of those reps in the preseason, just so that he can get acquainted to what this NFL game is. You don't want him going out there week 1 with the Colts, wishing that he had more reps in the preseason. They can control that. So I am for him taking more reps than fewer.
Yeah, I also think it matters like the quality of reps. You know what I mean? Handing the ball off 6 times, throwing 3 bubble screens. Justin Fields had that game last year where he
first pass to DJ Moore.
Yeah, 3 completions for whatever it was, over 100 yards, and his air yards -4. So it was like cool, but this isn't showing us anything about whether or not he could throw the ball over the middle of the field on an intermediate route yet.
Remember the DJ Moore pass, and that really wanted to be celebrated by Bears fans. Like they had cracked the code.
It was fun. It was a fun play.
Yeah, I probably got yelled at on that one on the pod because I definitely said he threw a nothing pass to DJ Moore, who beat one defender and walked into the end zone. I don't think this means the Bears offense is ready to rock and roll.
Well, it did show that DJ Moore was good and could do that. It did not translate to the quarterback.
Yeah,
having any definitive statements about that. So I guess getting back to my point, I don't necessarily care if it's 45 or 65. What I do care about is what those reps and play calls actually are, which is a tough thing because you want to test him. You're also going up against probably vanilla defenses.
Mm-hmm.
And you also don't want to be giving away too much of your playbook. So it is sort of a difficult balance. And they have 4 games instead of 3.
Quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. So it comes down to.
Absolutely.
Air it out. Try to win the Hall of Fame game in dynamic. Just throw it 40 times. Throw caution to the wind. Let's go. We got to win now. We cannot wait any longer. Do it for Braggs.
No. That's where that Mike Lennon. No.
You do not need to win in the preseason. I can deliver that for you.
No.
Boom.
Yeah.
Take that, Mark.
Also you can do is you can check out Sunnyside, and that's what I recommend this summer. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside is everything you need to elevate your summer. It's a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. They're all over the place. They're Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations in the city, like Wrigleyville and River North to the suburbs and all the way down to Champaign, north to South Beloit, and plenty more. If you're just starting out, Sunnyside can get you started with expert guidance and brands we know you'll love, like Good News and Mindy's. And if you're already a pro, they've got you covered with over 100 strains on the menu, new ones added weekly. We know you'll love Cresco and Florical's incredible quality and consistent products as well. So make sure you check out Sunnyside. Go to Sunnyside, whatever your nearest location is, or go to sunnyside.shop. Use code HICHGO at checkout for 35% off brands like Cresco, Good News, and more to elevate your first purchase. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
And after you use your Sunnyside, get in an Uber and head on over and check out our friends at WhirlyBall. It's the combination of basketball and lacrosse and hockey. It's all being played while you're in bumper cars. This is seriously the big time fun you can have. You're only going 4 miles per hour, but that is actually faster than you think when you're cracking into people, which is a beautiful thing. Get that anger out, get the fun out, do all of it. 3 locations for WhirlyBall, and one of the locations has 3 WhirlyBall courts, 12 bowling lanes, lane side service. You don't have to run to get your own drinks. They're bringing it to you. 2-story laser tag arena, private event spaces, 45,000 square feet of fun, 32 craft beer on tap, craft cocktails, upper scale bar food as well. Booking with WhirlyBall is as easy as can be. Just go to whirlyball.com/CHGO. Click the book now button. And if you purchase an hour of WhirlyBall, you're going to get 30 minutes of bowling for free. You must book with a private event to redeem. Book now, whirlyball.com/CHGO.
Guys, let's put on our rose-colored glasses and explain to the people why the future is bright for Rome Odunze, brought to you by Shady Rays. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code CHGO at checkout or 35% off polarized sunglasses. Let's talk about Rome Odunze, guys, because he has, I think, a lot of potential in year one. And I really, when I asked him about, having that punt return experience or how maybe he could see himself contributing in that role, he really seemed all for it. And I think right now, when you're looking at positions that are up for grabs, I would put punt returner as one of those positions where you can actually compete and fight for. And so not only am I, the future is bright for him in terms of what he can do on the offense, but if he can be that punt returner, I'm curious to see what he would look like. I know there are people in the chat that are like, I don't want to see Rome Odunze out there at all on punt return. I'd be intrigued by it. It's another playmaker getting another opportunity to make a play. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out, if Rome Odunze could maybe be that guy for the Bears.
That's exactly how he described it. It's saying he wants to do it, just a chance to make more plays. Hoge, you're our special teams guy. What do you think?
Well, and he did say, you already know my favorite player is Devin Hester. So if I can contribute in any facet of the return game, I'm all for it. I think it'd be silly not to try it. Right? You guys remember Trent Taylor?
No,
yes,
I don't. I forgot that. I repressed that memory.
Yeah, it feels like 5 years ago. Trent Taylor was brought here last year because the Bears couldn't even catch the punts. So they used a roster spot on a guy whose job it was to catch the punts and hopefully get 7 yards. Because other than I think he broke like 1 at one point in the season, like there was no chance that they were going to have a dynamic play. So I would like to see more there. Bringing Dante Pettis back. Pettis was okay at it, a couple years ago. Yeah,
he can catch it,
and he can catch it. I just can we up the bar a little bit and stop being so afraid of injuries? It's football, okay? Guys are gonna get hurt. Rome Odunze could get hurt playing wide receiver. He can get hurt standing around at rookie minicamp. Oh wait, that already happened. Okay, so if he can be a good player there, and his favorite player of all time is Devin Hester, so he's motivated to do it. It would be insane for Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, and Richard Hightower not to try to get better at that spot. Field position is everything. I'm just so sick of. I mean, it was really frustrating when they couldn't even catch the punts. And I've seen Velus Jones back there. I'm glad they're giving him more chances to try to get better at it. But I think that ship has sailed. Okay. You have to be trustworthy. There's no indication that Rome Odunze won't be trustworthy in that spot. And he didn't get a ton of opportunity at Washington, but that was probably because, and he said he practiced it all the time, but he was too valuable there. He's in a luxurious position here where he's a rookie, and two, they have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen on this roster too. Okay, so if there ever was a spot to try this, it's now.
That's interesting, and I'd love to see it, but I will admit that it does slightly make me nervous. I mean, you're putting one of your key guys in a spot where, yes, I get it, Hoge. It is football, and you can get hurt, but you're putting him in a spot where he's got to catch a ball, and there's a lunatic coming down, 3 lunatics, whatever, coming down trying to kill him. Is it worth it? Yeah, I mean, is it worth it? Maybe if he wants to do it, and but he hasn't done it a ton. He talked about, he didn't get many opportunities at in college to do it. So you'd be putting a guy fairly green at the position doing it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Bears are trying out a bunch of guys there too. From the practices we've watched, you've seen Rome Odunze, you've seen Tyreek Stevenson, you've seen other Dante Pettis hasn't been practicing, but he's been around there, and Bayless Jones Jr., like you mentioned earlier, Hoge. So the Bears just need to find someone that is reliable. If that person who's most reliable is Rome Odunze, let him do it. Like, I get it. You're going to be in 11 personnel a lot just because of the playmakers you have in this offense. But if it's another opportunity to get a guy who can make people miss, who can be dynamic with the ball in their hands, it's just another opportunity. So he's going to gauge whether or not it's safe for him or not to play the ball that's in the air. And that's why he's getting all these practice reps now. Ever since rookie minicamp started, he's been doing this. So he's getting these reps now, and he's got a hell of a punter too in Torrey Taylor, who puts a lot of spin on the ball. So if he can catch a ball from him, I feel pretty good about what Rome can possibly do with some of the other punters in the league.
Well, I love his mindset. I love that he wants to do it. I love the Hester connection, which he was talking to us about all the way back at the combine. So it's not like this is I became a Bear and this is my favorite player now. No, it's like a real genuine thing. So, at least let him see it. Let him do it. I'd love to see it in a preseason game at least once, and then go from there. Now, the part that I will say I am a little bit concerned about here, which I really don't hold the same concern for Caleb Williams. But this is a conversation we have every single year, regardless of who the rookies are. And it's even then somewhat of a case-by-case basis. But there is this thing called the rookie wall. And it can be very, very real. Because the most obvious reason is you're playing more football games. Although college is definitely starting to catch up. And now we have an extra round in the playoffs, and we'll see. And actually, I don't know if maybe Steven can look this up quickly, but how many total games that would Washington have played last year? 12, 13, 14, 15? They probably played the 15. So getting pretty close to a 17-game schedule there. But if the Bears make the playoffs, now we're talking about more. Caleb Williams' season ended in November. He very publicly and somewhat controversially, although none of us really seem to have an issue with it at all, limited his workouts with teams, right? He didn't do all the medicals at the combine. He didn't work out at the combine. Like, I think he did a pretty good job of working out and staying in shape and getting better without burning himself out, and his season was much shorter. In Rome Odunze's case, played deep into January, went straight into draft prep, combine, not only worked out, but was there 15 minutes after the workouts ended because he was trying to better his time. I'm not punishing. I want to be clear. I think that was awesome. Okay. But I'm just bringing up that his off season was different. His in season was different. And unfortunately, he showed up to rookie minicamp and had a hamstring issue right away, which he talked about today, because it's the first time we've had a chance to talk to him since that happened. And he said that he wasn't ready for the amount of reps he was getting. And that was just rookie minicamp. So I'm glad he got through the last few weeks without a problem. I don't see any reason why this should be something that we're necessarily worried about being a chronic thing. But I do hope the Bears are a little bit careful with Rome Odunze and perhaps some of that burnout And maybe if that's your reason for holding him back from punt returns, I'm okay with it. Because not a lot of reps per game returning punts, but you do usually take a pretty nice shot if you do catch the ball and choose to return it instead of fair catching it.
I think that's a situation where the coaching staff would have to, kind of get in the way of Rome Odunze, because Rome seems like a guy that's like, give me all the reps, let me go be a punt returner. So that would be like, for me, thinking like Matt Eberflus, Shane Waldron, like, hey, yo, Rome, take a step back here a little bit, because he does seem like a guy that, however he can contribute, offense, special teams, like he just has that mentality. From what we've seen from Rome, he's going to want to do that. So I would think that if that conversation happens, it would be the coaching staff kind of stepping in, telling Rome to almost hold back. But they're testing him with all the plays and things like that, like they've said earlier today. So it would be an interesting how they kind of played all that out.
If I had to bet on it, by the way, I'm going to say they don't do it. It seems too risky of a Matt Eberflus decision for me to think they would put a rookie back there, let alone the number 9 overall pick who they're counting on. But that's just a guess, obviously.
Yeah, I would probably lean that way too, Carm. However, let's see how the roster shakes out, because if you go into the season with Dante Pettis and Velus Jones on the roster, you're talking about basically 2 guys who are there to return kicks and punts like you did last year when you had Velus Jones and Trent Taylor taking up roster spots, and neither one really did a ton on offense.
Yeah, I don't love that option either. It's boring, and you're just going to be praying they catch the ball, bottom line, and which is the same exact thing that was last year versus somebody make a play. Yeah. But on the other side of it is the dude catches one, gets his knee blown up. You're going to be feeling like complete ass if that happens. So I know you can't think that way, but like it's kind of in some ways, I guess how you have to think. Gary's put this in there. I've seen other people in there too. I don't know if Ian Wheeler's making this roster, but I will say, like, there is a burst to him that I would be interested, in a guy like that. If he gets hurt, with all due respect to Ian Wheeler, well, that's the way it went. Which would be the same thing with Dante, actually. It would be the same thing with Velus. But I would be more interested in Ian, definitely over Velus at this point, and over Dante too. And even though I do like Pettis.
It's interesting because all these comments right now are just sort of all over the place. Why is Velus on this team? Don't let it be Pettis and Velus. Just let Pettis do it. They're all over the place. Ian Wheeler, to me, I would think I'm putting him in the early category of favorite
training camp hero.
Yeah, training camp hero who gets cut, or sometimes they don't get cut, but like the Tanner Gentry, Dane Sanzenbacher award, type situation, because his name gets thrown out there a lot. You say his burst to him. I need to see it in a game. The guy ran like a 4.6 at the running back position or something like that, leading into the combine. So I get it, but yeah, like Blake says in the comments right here, I don't think Wheeler makes it over Homer. Like Travis Homer does a lot of different things on special teams. So you're going to have to show that you can do other things to just return kicks if they're going to keep you on the roster.
And I was speaking to the running backs coach, Chad Morton. He loves Travis Homer. So yeah, I kind of got that from today too.
And I get it. Like, you can have a running back who can return and do all these things on special teams and blah, but they kind of already have that guy in Homer on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not ruling it out, but it's just this will be one of the things I really do think needs to be sorted out in training camp and honestly in the preseason games as well.
Yeah. Look, if I'm making a bet on Ian Wheeler and his future with the Bears, I'm betting that at best it lands him on the practice squad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which might. That's a possibility. Hey, last thing I want to talk about before we get to snidbits, shout outs, and more, and super chats too. talking to Waldron today, one of the questions I wanted to get asked was I didn't necessarily do a deep dive on his history of how many times he's been in, coaching staffs that have a passing game coordinator, run game coordinator, quarterback coach, 6 different other quarterbacks that seem to be out there throwing the ball and playing in Italy and all this stuff. But he said, no, it's kind of how it's been. He did in Seattle and in LA, he's kind of used to that. And then my follow-up question was just, how do you make sure the messaging stays the same with all those people? It's one of those things where, like, if the quarterback plays well and you're winning games, everything's great. If the quarterback's struggling and the offense is struggling and you're not winning games, then you start to have factions that get developed. And you got half the team who's like, Bill Lazor should be calling the plays, and half the team saying Matt Nagy should be calling the plays. And that's just what you want to avoid. It's one of those things that's just, on the other hand, you could easily make the argument, and I think that's probably why the Bears adapted the way they did, that a first-time OC and a young quarterbacks coach wasn't enough for Justin Fields to properly develop. And so you restart this whole thing and you bring in a lot of qualified different people, including Thomas Brown, who was with the number 1 overall quarterback last year. So I get it, but I still think it's something to keep an eye on too. Because there's a lot of different voices right now on that coaching staff, and you want to make sure that the messaging is all the same, because you want Caleb to have consistency in that area.
That's super interesting. If you want to go down a dark road of a lot of new guys in there, people in new positions, everything you just underlined. Kerry Joseph has never been a quarterback's coach in the NFL. I'm sure he has thoughts about how he wants this to go. Shane, if you look at his personality, he's kind of got a little, I don't know, golly gee Willikers to him. Like he, doesn't he? He's just a very friendly kind of Mayberry Shane Waldron. And so where I'm going with that, for the record, is in his position, he's got to, at least in that offensive side of the ball, he's the guru. He's the guy. Mm-hmm. So how comfortable is he, if he doesn't like something that Kerry's doing or whatever, how comfortable is he, in flexing and saying, we're doing it this way, and sort of being that authority? It's the same thing kind of with the Flus too. I mean, he's been in the seat now for a minute, but he ain't Bill Belichick either as far as tenure. I don't know. I think it's interesting trying to think how the coaching staff will come together.
Yeah, you as a optimist, you want to think all these great minds in the room, it's going to work out. But you also got to think of the opposite side, trying to improve themselves as well, right? So if that's the case, like, you don't want people, you want everyone to be on the same page, cohesion. Because if it's not, then that's where things will go bad during the season. At one point, they can all collectively come together, agree on the same language, and whatever it may be, just to get whatever it is going in the right direction. So it's going to be interesting to play out with this staff that I think does have a lot of talent. But again, you got to see when the fire comes and things are not going their way, how do they kind of handle that?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there as a discussion point, as we've, we got to mix in some, everything's great right now, right? The vibes are good. Everybody's good. Everything's great. And that's fine. That's how it should be. But, I've been covering this league long enough to know there's a lot of egos involved, including ours. and there's, when adversity strikes, that's when you really, and even when it comes back to the Flus, like these press conferences has been great. I hope we get this Flus all year. I think there's a chance we do. But if they start 0-2, is it the same? Right?
Oh,
I don't know.
It's not. It's definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this, you're making me think about last night here, Hoge, with this throwing out there, because as you know, I was in a very intense mixed doubles match with my new partner, B, who, is a veteran on the tennis courts. And normally in mixed doubles, the higher ranked player serves first. B was like, I'll start. And I looked at her kind of cross-eyed, like, what do you mean you'll start, B? You ain't starting nothing. This is my gig. I'm the 4-0 player. You're the 3-0 player, B. But I didn't have the I just played the nice guy. I did the Shane Waldron, G Jolly, G Willikers. Now, lucky for me, B actually turned out to be a better server than me, and it all worked out for the team, and we won. But I didn't have the gusto to dunk on B because I was being nice because we were first-time players together. But B got it done.
Is this the first time in 2 years of tennis stories that it ended with Carm winning? I mean, usually we just hear about the losses and how upset he is. This was the turn.
If it hadn't been for 68-year-old B last night, I would have gone down. But B saved me. And that's why B should be a diehard. B.
68-year-old B. Okay. To bring this whole podcast full circle. Thank you for taking that video of me walking. Good thing there's no footage of Carm walking around Hallis Hall today.
Oh my.
After
Man, Carm, you were struggling.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened, guys, but thank you for your deep concern. But I did hit with my niece yesterday, the old tennis, and then I got out there with B, and my hip feels like I'm 96 years old, and my knees feel like they're 92, and I don't know what I got to do here, but I got to do something. I think I got to take the gluten out of the diet or the gluten in the diet, and I need stretching to the. I'm gonna have a walker in 2 weeks if it keeps going like this.
String Travelers is Carm finally winning against the retirees. Let the record show. I texted Carm this morning and I said pre-practice tennis.
Yeah, no,
that's a hard no, and now I understand why. Why there was no chance you were playing tennis this morning.
That text hurt my back. Literally thinking about it hurt my back. I was like,
I might have actually had a chance to win.
Yes, you would have.
All right.
We're going to be friends tonight.
All right. Go visit the trainer. We'll get in a couple snidbits here. One, I wanted to point out, you guys remember Tahoma 31 and how big of a deal that was 2 years ago? Oh, yeah. The new sod, the new grass that Flus cares so much. This actually still, I think, ranks as my favorite Flus thing since he's become the head coach. Because all these years, and go back and watch highlights. Go watch Devin Hester highlights, whatever highlights you want to watch. It is laughable, the condition that the Soldier Field grass is in some of those games. I mean, it is seriously like, is that the Chicago Park District? Oh, wait, actually it is. But like, is that Grant Park or is that Soldier Field? Because it was a complete joke. And all it took was Matt Damn Eberflus, to quote my friend Mark Carman, to come in here and be like, hey, there's this Tahoma 31 grass that they make out in Carolina. Can we get some of that? The first game, 3 months of rain falls in 3 hours. The Bears beat the 49ers. Justin Fields is sliding around. Grass held up fine. It's unbelievable.
It really was unbelievable. The Flus arrived and Bermuda existed and everything was great.
It's an unbelievable. If I don't know if Matt Eberflus will win a Super Bowl here or not. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. But there should be a statue outside whatever happens to Soldier Field, Carb. Here is Matt Eberflus, the man who fixed the grass after years and years of it being horrible. Anyway, this is a long way me setting up the fact that they installed it today on the Field 1 over at Hallis Hall. They did Field 2 last year so that they had the same grass as their home stadium, which makes a lot of sense. And I went back and looked at my own tweeting archives, and I had a tweet from last year that said they were going to install it this year too. I'm sure that's just a cost thing. It's very expensive to resod a field, and now they have it. They had the trucks in today. It has been pretty impressive what this blend of grass and how it holds up even in the winter, because Bermuda grass isn't really known for being a northern climate grass. It turns brown very quickly, but they've done a good job at House Hall over the last decade, and just another little minor improvement that they made since they had practiced last week on that exact same field.
Can I ask you a question, Hoge?
No, no questions allowed.
Well, I'm asking anyway, because we talked about the assistant offensive line coach of the Tennessee Titans the other day, Scott Fuchs, and and I gotta add,
for anybody who missed that, his name is Scott Fuchs. I'm sorry, Fuchs. Scott Fuchs. Yeah, it's Scott Fuchs.
Fuchs. All right. Well,
it rhymes with Bucks.
In the name of Scott Fuchs, why couldn't they wait till tomorrow to put the grass in so we didn't have to walk 3 miles in 90-degree heat to watch the Bears, 13, 14 Bears, do nothing today? Why couldn't they do that tomorrow in the name of Scott Fuchs?
Damn it.
Shocker. The me guy makes it about him. Poor guy had to walk.
They had to do it today. They're practicing today. Tomorrow's a great day to do it. It was freaking hot as hell out there today.
Hey, after seeing that video of me walking with that little belly I apparently have all of a sudden, I'm glad we had to walk.
You are punching. We got
to work on that.
You're turtling. It's rough. You've got a shell.
You know, I was doing pretty good. I was actually down 10 pounds, and then 2 extra kids decided to show up at my house. It's been a rough go.
You know what sucked today for me was that this podcast, I actually had 5 seconds in between practice and podcasting, and I just annihilated the kitchen. It was a horrible job by me. I feel so sick. If we could just get back to no time in between practice and podcasting, that would be fantastic.
What'd you eat? What'd you do? What did you consume in like 5 seconds?
Avocado, string cheese, pretzel bites, blueberries, strawberries, yogurt, nonstop. Like just,
some of that stuff is healthy.
Yeah, but put all together,
I've been in a food
better than what I did.
Oh, the dots is so good.
I grabbed this out. I have a half-eaten oat bite from Costco that I was while the intro music was playing. That's what I was doing for those at home that want behind the scenes access. That's why it's not fully eaten. I ran out of time. Thank God there's a countdown on there. Let's close the show with some super chats, shall we? Appreciate everybody being here today. Kevin O'Reilly, $9.99. First off, RIP to Jerry West. Absolutely. That said, when I scrolled across Jordan's West tribute message, I didn't see this. My brain default read it in Carm's MJ voice, and I've never been more worried about my own mental health.
That's amazing, Kevin. You're actually in a great spot. You're moving forward, and you're doing good things. So congrats.
Craig Leach drops $20 in here to say, Hoge, I think you're mistaking cicadas for katydids that you hear every year. They are as loud and mostly out at night. I'm a nerd. Let's go CHGO. Thank you, Craig. Not to get in a bug battle with you, but no, there are annual cicadas, and we do have them here where I live, and I know that because they do show up on my porch every morning dead. And the katydids are like the loud crickets, right? They look more like crickets or grasshoppers or whatever. Yeah. So, but I appreciate Super Chat. And those cicadas are real, unlike the fake cicadas that are out there. Fake cicada.
For our guy, Kevin, I'm pulling up the Jordan quote for Jerry. I'm so deeply saddened at the news of Jerry's passing. This is really a beautiful quote. I don't want to ruin it. Truly a friend and a mentor and an older brother to me. Jerry West was the man, dude. Jerry West was the king of all kings. If Jerry West had been the GM of the Bulls with MJ, we would have won double the titles. That guy was the comments from Magic about how he was breaking him down like in his first training camp, like he's watching practice, giving him notes on how he could be better. The guy, when he drafted Kobe, sorry, I'm going to go out and Jerry West. When he drafted Kobe, he's signing Shaq as a free agent. He's like, hey, man, just want to let you know, if you come here, I think we got the best player in the draft. He drafted him 13th overall, traded Vlade Divac for him. The guy, outside of being just an insane player, he's just a basketball savant, and he was a great person. I met him a bunch of times. He was super, super nice every time I met him. a huge fan of Jerry West.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the damn logo.
He's the logo. Yeah.
He's the logo.
He's the logo.
I mean, that's and no one ever doubts it. In a league that ended up with Michael Jordan and all these other. I mean, he's the NBA logo is iconic, and it's Jerry West. So I definitely am not old enough to have appreciated Jerry West's career. I was actually listening to Mike Greenberg talk a little bit about him this morning, and just like the stats are unbelievable considering he played before there was a 3-point line. It's crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a big one. And during the NBA finals, and basically a week or two after Bill Walton passed away too. So
that's true.
Yeah. Alex Amerling closes us out, $2 super chat, just saying bear down, boys. Great way to end this show today. And we'll be back tomorrow. We should probably tease what we got in studio tomorrow.
Do it. He was at practice today on a bike.
Right. Bears rookie Austin Booker in studio at CHGO. He'll be joining us tomorrow at noon. So make sure you set your notifications. Please hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Be ready to go tomorrow at noon. Looking forward to that conversation with the rookie out of Kansas. Any final thoughts there, boys?
Of course, the conversation with Booker. He's been tearing it up.
Super excited about tomorrow, and whatever, Pizzatola.
I'll show you guys something real quick because I have no idea how this happened. I hope no one's afraid of blood. I'm bleeding.
Cicada. That's a cicada right there.
That's not a cicada.
Messed you
Why
up.
am I bleeding? I've been doing nothing but sitting here doing a podcast for an hour and 7 minutes.
Cicada.
My
It's
elbow.
It's
It's live blood too. It's dripping.
Yeah, it's a live blood situation. I don't know. I blame Pizzatola.
It's dangerous out here. This show's a dangerous show. You got to battle through it.
It is. It's a tough gig. This. I mean, it was hot out there today. We had to stand there for 45 minutes. We had to walk back in. We had to ask questions.
Stop complaining. Today was the easiest practice we've ever had to cover.
We had to drive back. We had to sit in front of this computer for an hour. This gig is tough.
All right. Even tougher tomorrow. Austin Booker joins us. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon.
We all silly like the mayor.